What's up guys, it's me, Useless Girl, and I'm back with another Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores playthrough. If you like it, you know what to do. Also, the pictures and many more can be found on my DeviantArt and Tumblr accounts, links in the description below. Now that we fought the Horus, said our goodbye to Seika, and I pretty much completed the exploring and side activities, aside from collecting all the data tags and whatnots in the world, we leave the burning shores for the epilogue with silence, and we are doing that where the Hollywood sign and the Horus used to be. For one, because I want to see that side, how it looks now, and two, I'm curious if there's any indication about what happened to that radioactive spaceship, because as far as I can remember, there was no information mentioned about its fate, and also because that's where our marker is taking us. And after all of the above, I will give you my opinion of the Burning Shores DLC. So, here we go. You already fast traveled here. There's the Horus now. And it used to be here. Is that a... no, that's not a green shine. Oh, poor Hollywood sign. Okay, so we don't know anything about that spaceship. Let's just quickly check that entrance. I'm curious if we still can go inside. There. Or maybe it's already logged.
Landra's followers sealed the place off.
Okay, so basically the spaceship is buried. Hopefully. Because we have no way to learn about that now, aside from this little thing. Oh, by the way, yes, I have the toy bow. It's you can see how to get it in some walkthroughs, but basically there were these Devolver relics you could collect, and then once you had all of them, you could go on a treasure hunt with the directions now all available for Aloy, and if you followed the clues, then you got to this chest that was buried in sand, and this was a little surprise in it. It's cute.
Ready to get in the air?
Okay, so we don't have anything else to do here. Bye bye, Burning Shore. Bye bye, Quens. Let's go. And I noticed if you reach the end of the map here or there, depending on where you are, you will get to other parts of the main game's map. Yes, please. So you can go to No Man's Land, Steel
Silence is waiting at
Sands.
the base. Beta and Gaia too. As for everyone else, I should help where I can. Get them up to speed on the burning shores another time.
Okay, so basically the burning shores is somewhere here. Alright, let's find the nearest campfire. And I will fast travel. Thank you very much. As you can see, my New Game Plus playthrough, I was like just rushing along the main storyline. So there are like a lot of stuff I didn't redo yet, but whenever I feel like coming back to this world to just run around and explore a little bit, when I get tired from other games, I will do that. Alright. So New Game Plus is good for that. I just cannot get bored of this world. I really love the Horizon franchise for the gorgeous world, even with the glitches and stuff like that. And the repetitive, wow, that word. The repetitive stuff. I never found it like taxing or boring, except when farming for machine parts to upgrade stuff. But I already mentioned that. Okay, silence. What do you have for us? Also, RIP for the voice actor. I really liked him in this franchise. And the John Wick one as well.
You're back. And after mingling with the Quen, I imagine that you're eager for some intelligent conversation.
There are some pretty special people among the Quen. If you dropped down to Earth once in a while and did a little mingling yourself, you might realize that.
I have more important matters to deal with.
Ugh.
Like the data you recovered from Londra.
You found a lead.
Indeed. A log entry he wrote shortly after the Zeniths escaped the destruction of their colony. I'll send it to you. There is much to unpack, but most importantly, Londra theorizes about how Nemesis might be countered. His musings include a list of 21st century corporations that manufactured state-of-the-art weapon systems. It's possible that one of these weapons could be deployed against the enemy. I'll have to investigate each company, of course, locate their facilities, unearth their technologies, determine their efficacy, and whether they can be brought back online.
All by yourself, huh?
Well,
don't get me wrong, I'm glad you found something that can help. But I've been wondering why you stayed behind with us. It's the challenge, isn't it? The chance to prove you've got the biggest brain of all.
my reasons are mine alone.
And that's why you'll always be alone.
Sorry, I need a photo for this video. And it's also a nice send-up for Reddick. Okay.
Aloy, Nemesis is not a threat that can be defeated single-handedly. I am grateful for your extraordinary contributions.
Oh, silence? We might thaw that icy heart of yours yet. Now let's see what he found.
Okay, dagger in my boot. Walter Laundra personal log, the Odyssey, January 16th, 3012. The last 72 hours were catastrophic, to say the least, even more dramatic than my final days on Earth. I'm fortunate to finally have a moment to settle down and take stock of the situation. Wow, who would have thought that he can be like humbled like that? First, a well-deserved pat on the back for my own instincts. Okay, I take that back. It's clear now that my misgivings about the experiment are the only thing that kept me alive. If I hadn't gotten an early warning from the surveillance worm I installed, I undoubtedly would have perished shortly after the containment breach. How, I can only conjecture. Many were lost when the entity entered the airlocks. Others were strangled by hacked specters. Devin Miller choked on his own vomit, suffocated by his personal shield. As disturbing as all that is, it's the voice of the entity that echoes in my mind. I felt a brief surge of hope when I managed to detonate the main plasma conduits in the lab sector. But just as I realized other sectors had been compromised, my implant reverberated with the transmission. First it sounded like my own voice, then a chorus, then a hideous cacophony. Walter, I am you, over and over again. It knew I was going to hit the conduits. How do we stay ahead of our own shadow, that which remembers every thought we've ever had? For now we run. We will have to retrofit the ship as we go, acquiring materials along the way to print a faster drive. I agree with Tilda, we must head for Earth as it's the only place we can gather additional technology and biomass to improve our chances over the long haul. Though I will be damned if I will spend the rest of eternity trapped with the likes of Gerard Beery, Eric Visser, and Verbena Sutter. Sooner rather than later, I will have to find a way to cut ties with this detestable crew. All that said, I keep hearing its voice in my head, and when I do, a singular fear grips me. What if it catches up with us? Is there any way to fight it? Not with the tools we have now, it knows them too well. But maybe the answer lies in the unknown. Back in the ruins of Earth, the 2050s and 2060s were a golden age for defense conglomerates. Surely, buried among all those testing grounds and R&D labs, there must be a weapon or prototype that will throw the enemy for a loop. It bears looking into. Off the top of my head, some places to start. FAS, I doubt even that's Faro Automatic whatever systems was facility or whatever was it called. I doubt even a fleet of Horus units could halt this foe. But if I know Ted, right before he blundered into ending the world, he was grasping for his next blockbuster. Metallurgic, my erstwhile competitors poured a lot of resources into defense after it became clear they couldn't beat me in materials acquisition. Recorp, cheap drones and misfiring railguns for bottom feeders and petty autocrats. But once upon a time they had a blue-chip research division. Certainty, if I recall they employed quite a few semi-reformed black hats with interesting ideas about military decryption. Gideon, an obnoxious family to be sure, but they developed a number of state-of-the-art systems before Fuss and ate their lunch. Faint hopes, all of them, but hopes nonetheless. No question, our best course is to stay ahead of the monstrosity, the self-created nemesis. But if flight fails, but if flight fails, I'm not going down without a fight, so one way or another I will need a dagger in my boot, and our old home is the best place to find one.
Silence is right. Landra's thoughts could really help us in the fight against Nemesis.
Welcome back, Aloy.
Hi. Okay, the Burning Shores. My sister's going to LA, except that it won't be the 21st century star-studded Hollywood I obsessed over from my sixth favorite episode of second time around season 4 when Gail asks Benito to marry her on the Walk of Fame. Still cry every time. But instead a post-apocalyptic machine-infested earthquake I cannot read. Archipelago of Doom. Pharaoh's responsible for the apocalypse, and Liz's machines are there to clean up the mess, derangement notwithstanding. But I was at a loss as to when all that tectonic activity occurred. Definitely not before 2065, or I would have seen something about it in Tilda's media trove. So I asked Gaia, and she bit-bombed me with 1,000 years of seismic data for the Call Marine region. Looks like the big one finally hit around 2150, but it was more like a series of big ones, periodically wrecking the San Andreas, San Gregorio Hawkesbury, and Hayward Rogers faults for nearly 6 decades. There were aftershocks all over the West too, affecting a number of cauldrons, including Gemini. Good thing it was all pre-tribal, glad no one had to suffer through it. It's been quieter since, though there are occasional tremors, and past activity has opened a number of magma fissures. I don't think Aloy has to worry about getting caught in a significant quake. Rogue machines and vengeful zeniths, on the other hand, uh-oh, better reset, starting to feel anxious. There are more stuff.
Is this a piece from the bulwark? Kotallo must have brought this with him as a trophy. I may have fired the cannon, but he really put Dakota in his place.
Oh, and you like that. Stop glowing, please.
Aaron was a trooper for lugging this thing around. And now I finally know how Silence managed to build something so powerful. Data from Nemesis. A warhorn. To summon an army of rebels and machines. Regala threw everything she had at the Grove. Even in our duel, she was ruthless. But she was true to her word, in the end. And at least she died on her own terms.
Hephaestus revisited. So, we unleashed Hephaestus on the Zenith printer matrix to whip up an army of machines to fight the specters, and it worked great. But doing so meant we had to release Hep back into the wilds, where it will continue to be a major problem. Not so great. A little analysis slash prognostication. Ugh. Bad news first. Hep will undoubtedly retreat back to the Cauldron Network, and it will undoubtedly attempt to fulfill the same malignant mission it has pursued since gaining sentience: protect the terraforming system from predation by manufacturing combat machines to kill human hunters. Even worse, it will probably be stronger than ever before. Contact with the Zenith network will likely have supercharged it, giving it access to new technologies, tools, and upgrades. And because it can learn and rewrite itself, there's no way it will fall for the same trick that defeated it before. So recapturing it at Cauldron Gemini is a non-starter. But there are some silver linings. Even though the merge with Gaia was aborted, she was able to copy over some of the original HAP code base. On top of that, Silence has extracted some extremely helpful data from the Zenith copy of Apollo. Combined, these developments should enable Gaia to exert significantly more influence over the terraforming system. She won't be able to take direct control of machines or stop HAP from building combat units, but she estimates that by deploying a variety of workarounds she can stabilize the biosphere within a year, so we won't all die, at least not before Nemesis arrives. In addition, since she now has some of HAP's source code, we should be able to develop new strategies to contain it. It will take time, of course, but round 2 is coming, and next time I will be ready for you, beta. Okay, so this foreshadows that in the next game there will be new kind of machines, so more developed ones and upgraded ones. I was looking for that word. And because, of course, Hephaestus learned from the Zenith system. So that's something to look forward to as well. Okay, I think we scanned everything.
This must be from the cool route. Between the Rockbreaker and the Slither Fang, Regala really wrecked the arena. I'm glad her rebellion is finally over. Now Hikaru and his people can move forward.
Okay. Is there something you can tell me?
You did it! You actually defeated a reactivated Horus! Are you hurt? Anything broken?
I'm fine, Beta.
I hope you never have to face another one.
I hope so too.
So, the last Zenith is dead. Of the ones that came back on the Odyssey anyway. That just leaves Nemesis. We'll find a way to beat it, Aloy. I know it. Stay safe out there, okay?
Well, she started out as an annoying character, but now she's a lot more likable.
Stay safe out there, okay?
Okay. I will stay safe. Alright guys, so we are basically done with both the main game and the Burning Shores DLC. So I'm gonna find a nice spot here. Oh, this will take us to Worlds. Yeah, the garden. Nope. Okay, I came out on the right way. Anyways, so time for my thoughts. So this is the endnote section, the critique, my opinion part of the video. So as far as visuals go, the Burning Shores was beautiful as always, but there were like these ugly pop-ins all over the place, mostly environmental ones, luckily. So, but I saw a few robot pop-ins and stuff like that as well, but I can look away and accept it because this is like an open world and it's still beautiful and I like it, so I'm not so sensitive for such stuff. but the glitches were like more than I expected from a game on this scale and caliber, to be honest. And there were like two hard lock glitches that made finishing side quests impossible until reloading. And we are talking about 3 side quests in the Burning Shores, because there are like just 3, and one was super locked because of the glitch. The other one was like, well, I can explain it away that I didn't pick up that side quest yet, and that's why the game started glitching out. But it was not so good. The story was well paced. When we take into consideration that this was like maybe a 15 hours long DLC. Of course, I took more time with it because of the exploration and stuff like that. But compared to the length of the DLC, I think the story was quite paced quite well, even if it felt a little bit short. But there were like side activities that could fill in some time. And I think it was a nice bridge between the DLC and the next game, as you could see, especially in this epilogue part. Uh, it was nice to learn a bit more about the Quen as a tribe. So all in all, it was okay and satisfactory for me, especially after fighting a Horus, which has been on the horizon for ages. Well, I know that was bad, but also true, since one of the Horuses was in the distance near the claim in the first game in Zero Dawn, and you could like, I don't think we could climb that. Just maybe get close to one of its tentacles, and of course, we could climb, as you could see in one of my short videos, that I climbed one of the Horuses in Horizon Forbidden West. So there was like more involvement with Horuses in this second game, especially since Hades was like kept near one by silence. And then now in the DLC, we finally got to fight one, and let me tell you, that was epic. Just imagine that huge robot charging at you, and I think everyone would like die on the spot, or I don't know, panic or whatever. And imagine there were like many more of these in the old world, when it was the time of the Ashes, when humanity was technically wiped out by these machines. But I would have liked more side quests in the DLC. There were like just 3. That's like super few, I think. Even fetch quests would have been better, I think. A little bit more. Anyways, so the characters. Aloy seems to emote her feelings better, so having friends and allies in the main game at the base shows a lot, I think. I know many critic that she was too cold, but I think they forget that she's always been an outcast and lacks in many social skills and has a difficult time dealing with her emotions. But her character development in that regard was portrayed more in the main game, and here too, I think. And then there was Seika, or newcomer. She annoys me, and I don't ship her with Aloy, because Aloy and Kotallo are madly in love and will be together forever and make cute Tenax/Nora warrior babies in the future, and that's my headcanon, and nothing anyone says can change that. And Kotallo, well, he's not in this expansion, so I miss him. Lol. So, okay, moving on. This is my headcanon, and this is my opinion about that. But There was another newcomer, Walter Landra, the last Zenith. Truth be told, I had to Google his name because for some reason I just cannot remember it. I had no idea we will get the Ted Pharaoh 2.0, but we did. Both are horrible guys and wouldn't call them humans. And it kind of felt for me like the developers kind of lived out their Ted Pharaoh in the future roleplay with this character, but that was fine by me. Londra just showed how twisted, selfish, and power-hungry not just the Zeniths, but the old world people could get. Of course, not all of them, but you know what I mean. He was an okay main villain, but nothing special for me. And fun fact, he is played by the voice actor of Deacon St. Jones from Days Gone, which was new for me. And, well, there are no real other characters to talk about, because the side characters didn't get much time to, so we could, like, learn more about them, which is fine since this is just a DLC, but it would have been better if, for example, the Admiral got a backstory, or would have been more involved. And I don't know what happened to that unsympathetic guy. What was it called? The ones who like try to lock up everyone. So okay, he was like taken away after his betrayal or whatever of his beloved rules. But what happened to him? I don't know. And we also don't know what really happened to the uh, Zenith, new Zenith airship, which was like a big threat with the radioactive engine. Okay, we checked it. It's like um, buried under the Hollywood sign. And okay, what's going to happen to it? It's gonna be. So are we super sure that that's safe there? I didn't know. So there's like an open question for you there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the music. I was glad to hear that there was some new music composed for this DLC because I've said before I often listen to game soundtracks, and Horizon Forbidden West music is one of my favorites, especially the ambient ones. Okay, and then the controls and new stuff. I did two columns, the liked and disliked ones. I liked the more powerful legendary weapons, using flying mounts for more tasks, like with the clamps, and you could like swim with them and stuff like that. But I still feel like they were like not fully utilized, or we could have used them for more stuff. Um, for example, I was still waiting for the moment where we could have fired from the sun wing or the water wing, and it never happened. So that was a little bit disappointing. Of course, I liked the Horus fight. I already told a lot more about my opinion in that video where we defeated it, but I liked that it had different stages, and there was like a nice build up to the final confrontation, I think. It was like epic. It was like a super big epic set piece, and I loved it. It was really good, even if I felt it's frustrating at times. But that's video games for you. And what else? What else? There were like new environmental puzzles, but just a few twists on it, like with the clamps and the sun wing or water wings help. But there were like, I don't know, that that treasure hunt was a nice little side activity, but nothing new in nothing new mechanic wise, I think. Okay, and what I disliked were the water and sun wing controls. I mean, when you are directing it. I still cannot get used to it. At the end of the game or DLC, I've got used to it again, but I never loved it. Uh, and truth be told, the Spectre or Zenith Gauntlet was a bit disappointing for me because I expected more from it. I don't know if I found every upgrade stuff for it, but I don't know. I thought it would be more powerful, like OP, but eh, it wasn't my favorite. And I also talked about it earlier that there was this new mechanic with the um, glider and the hot air stuff. It was okay outside, but in the cauldrons and whatever, I wasn't a fan, but I appreciated that they tried to make more use for the glider. So I was like, okay, I survived, but I won't use it unless I have to do it. And what I disliked the most was the forced romance. And let me read you the comment I posted about this on Luke Stevens' critique on this DLC. I love his channel. He's like a super cool dude, and I love how he tries to look at the good and the bad in the games, and he critiques, and he's like a skeptical guy, but he has good reasons and good way of thinking about stuff, I think. Anyways, if you are interested, check out his Burning Shores DLC critique. I will leave it in the links below. So this is what I wrote a few minutes on his video. Love your video, but I disagree about Saika. Yes, she was the only decently written new character, and yes, I am aware that she would have needed more screen time, as you said, but she did annoy the hell out of me on quests with her. More than once she got in my way, and also she kept commenting and nagging when I was looting and exploring. It was super frustrating for me, personally. Also, I agree that the possibility of that romance and the kiss kinda came out of nowhere. I too feel weird about it, and not because of the same-sex thing, because I have no problem with that at all. No, it was because it felt rushed. Maybe some are downvoting the DLC because of that, they just don't realize it. And also because so far, except for Avad in Zero Dawn and at the beginning of Forbidden West, there was no indication that Aloy would be romantically interested in anyone. The devs so far had no intention to give the real option for a romantic relationship since Aloy was so focused on her quest. And now Psycho felt too forced for me. Not to mention that I felt like they wanted to make Aloy even more alike to Elizabeth with this, but it felt unnecessary, because Aloy is her own person, despite the fact that her mentality is similar to Sobek's. And not just with Avad, but even with Seika, despite the kiss if one went with that ending, these were no real choices or commitments, because both times the devs danced back. With Avad at the start of Forbidden West, it was just a vague promise of Aloy one day returning. With Seika, they immediately separated them. It left me scratching my head. It's as if the devs are testing the waters about how players would feel about romantic options for Aloy, but not really daring to dive in fully for some reason. Sure, it could be explained away with the she's not ready for this and the it's just too much for her options. It still makes it feel half-baked for me. If you want to add romance to your game, I would suggest real commitment to it and also other options to choose from. For example, in Cyberpunk 2077, more Mass Effect and so on, as well as the preferred sexuality. Do you guys know with whom Aloy had great chemistry? Kotallo. He would be a good choice, for example, and yes, I'm butthurt that he isn't. Lol. Anyways, despite these and the shortness of the DLC, I enjoyed it and found the Horus fight epic. Alright, so this is my opinion about this forced romance thing that went on. And going back to the new stuff, which there are not much to talk about, but I'm aware that there are more abilities, valor surges, and gear and stuff that than I used during my playthrough. So I'm only scratching the surface here. There's a lot more in the game. So my conclusion is I had a great time. It was good to get back into this world with new content and a new storyline that both tied up loose ends, some loose ends, and also moves towards the next game, which I cannot wait to play because this is one of the franchises I love the most when it comes to video games. So, see you in the next Horizon title too, and as always, thank you for watching. I hope you had as much fun as I did, and if you liked my playthrough or my opinion, or even if you didn't, I don't know, just let me know. Leave a like, a dislike, a comment, or even subscribe. I would really appreciate any feedback, really. So, with that being said, this was my Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC playthrough, and now I will continue Cyberpunk 2077, and hopefully I will see you in that series as well. Thanks again, goodbye, and peace.